Good morning, everyone. I want to speak something into your spirit today. Keep on walking. Life may not always make sense. The road may be long. The mountain may seem too high. But let me encourage you. Don't stop. Don't settle in the middle of the valley. Don't give up halfway through your journey. You may be tired, discouraged, or confused, but if you'll just keep on walking, you'll get to the other side. You see, sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come all at once. It comes as you move forward. Sometimes the answer to your prayer isn't at the starting line. It's down the road. And if you stop now, you'll never see what God had waiting for you just around the corner. It's one of the hardest lessons in life and in faith, to wait, to hold on, to keep believing, to stay hopeful when everything around you is telling you it's over, when doors close, when prayers go unanswered. When the breakthrough feels overdue, in those moments, it's easy to assume that silence means rejection. That delay means denial. But I want to tell you today with confidence, a delay is not a denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because it's taken longer than you expected doesn't mean God has changed his mind. The waiting room of life is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's in the waiting that God develops your character, strengthens your faith, and refines your vision. You see, we serve a God who is not bound by our schedules. He's not rushed by our calendars. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. What we see is a delay. God sees as divine alignment. While you're waiting, he's working. While you're wondering, he's orchestrating. While you're praying, he's positioning the right people, the right resources, and the right moments to converge in ways you couldn't even imagine. Think about Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, of leadership, of influence. But what happened? He was thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned. Years passed. From the outside, it looked like delay after delay. But behind the scenes, God was not denying Joseph. He was setting the stage for something far greater than Joseph could have achieved on his own. In one moment, Joseph went from the prison to the palace, not because God finally noticed him, but because the time was finally right. What looks like a setback is often a setup. What feels like a pause is sometimes God's protection. Maybe you're not being delayed because you're not ready. Maybe you're being delayed because what you're waiting for isn't ready for you yet. That relationship, that opportunity, that open door, sometimes it needs time to mature so it can meet you at the right place in the right way. So don't lose heart in the waiting. Don't let delay convince you that God has said no when he's really saying a not yet. Don't stop praying. Don't stop preparing. Don't stop expecting. Because when the time is right, God will release what he promised and it will be greater than you imagine. The doors will open. The answer will come. The healing will arrive. The opportunity will present itself. Not 1 second too early and not a moment too late. Keep the faith. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Because delays are not denials. They are divine delays with purpose behind the pause. It's easy to believe that God is with us when everything is going well. When the sun is shining, the doors are opening, and life feels full of purpose and peace. But true faith is knowing this. God doesn't just walk with us in the light, he walks with us in the dark. The dark seasons of life come to us all. Times of confusion, times of loneliness, times of loss or uncertainty. You may feel like the light has gone out, like the road ahead is invisible and heaven has gone quiet. Maybe you're walking through a season of heartbreak, a financial storm, a battle with anxiety, or a time when your prayers seem to echo back in silence. And in those moments, it's easy to wonder, well, where is God? But let me remind you, God doesn't disappear in the darkness. He's not afraid of your pain. He's not put off by your questions. He doesn't abandon you when things get heavy. In fact, Scripture tells us he is closest to the brokenhearted. He is near to those who are crushed in spirit. When you can't see your way forward, he is still guiding your steps. When you can't feel him, he is still holding you. When you're walking through the valley, he's not standing at the other end waiting for you to arrive. He's walking right beside you. Think of the story of the 3 Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace. They were thrown into the flames for refusing to bow to the king's idol. And in the heat of that moment, in the darkest, most dangerous part of their lives. Someone looked into the fire and said, "Hey, didn't we throw 3 men in there?" But I see 4. And the 4th looks like the Son of God. God didn't pull them out of the fire right away. He stepped into the fire with them. That's what he does for you. He may not always take the storm away, but he'll climb in the boat and calm your heart. He may not remove the burden immediately, but he'll give you strength to carry it. His presence doesn't depend on your circumstance. It's a constant. In the dark, he becomes your light. In the chaos, he becomes your peace. In the silence, he becomes your assurance that you are not alone. Sometimes, God allows the dark seasons not to punish us, but to draw us closer. It's in the dark that our roots go deeper. It's in the silence that our trust grows stronger. It's in the uncertainty that our faith matures. You may not see where the path is leading, but if you'll just keep walking one step at a time, you'll find that God has been with you every moment. So today, if you're walking through a dark valley, if your soul feels heavy and your heart feels alone, don't give up. Don't let the darkness make you forget the light of God's promises. He hasn't abandoned you. He hasn't turned away. He is walking with you in the dark, guiding you, comforting you, carrying you when your strength runs out. The night will not last forever. The dawn is coming. And when the sun rises, you'll look back and see that the footprints and the shadows were not yours alone. They were his too. There comes a moment in all of our lives when we're faced with a choice. Do we move forward in faith or do we freeze in fear? Fear will always try to stop you. It whispers worst case scenarios. It magnifies the obstacles. It tells you you're not ready. You're not qualified. You're not strong enough. Free. And if you listen to it long enough, you'll find yourself stuck, paralyzed. Not because of your circumstances, but because you let fear take the lead. But faith does the opposite. Faith doesn't need all the answers to move. Faith doesn't wait for perfect condition. Faith doesn't shrink back at the sight of giants or locked doors. Faith moves anyway. Faith says, even though I can't see the outcome, I trust the one who goes before me. Faith walks when fear wants to sit down. Faith steps out while fear makes excuses. Faith dares to try while fear says, what if you fail? Think about Peter. When he saw Jesus walking on the water, he could have let fear freeze him in the boat. He could have said, this doesn't make sense. People don't walk on water. But he didn't. He stepped out. He moved. And yes, he started to sink, but only after he had the courage to do something bold that no one else in the boat even attempted. That's what faith does. It gets out of the boat while others stay stuck in comfort. Or think of David facing Goliath. Every trained soldier in Israel froze in fear, paralyzed by the size of the giant. But a young shepherd with a sling and some stones moved in faith. Not because he was the biggest or the strongest, but because he believed in a God bigger than the giant. Fear focused on the problem. Faith focused on the promise. Fear will always try to talk you out of your destiny. It will try to trap you in the past, distract you in the present, and scare you about the future. But faith doesn't live by what it sees. It lives by what it believes. And faith believes that God is greater than the obstacle, stronger than the storm, and always faithful to fulfill what he promised. Here's the truth. You don't have to feel fearless to walk in faith. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward in spite of fear. You might feel nervous. You might feel unsure. You might feel weak. But if you'll just take the next step, if you'll just keep moving, God will meet you there. He will strengthen you, guide you, and open doors that fear said would never open. So don't let fear freeze your purpose. Don't let fear silence your dreams. Let fear keep you in a place God's calling you to walk out of. You may not know what's ahead, but you know who's with you. And that's more than enough. Because faith moves. And when you move in faith, mountains shift, doors open, and miracles begin. Every challenge, every delay, every trial you're facing right now, it's not wasted. It's not random. It's not meaningless. It may not feel good and it may not look like progress, but God is using every step of your journey to prepare you for something greater ahead. What you're walking through now is shaping you, stretching you, and strengthening you for what you'll walk into later. You may be in a season that feels heavy, A season that doesn't make sense. Maybe you're fighting battles no one sees. Maybe you're praying for breakthrough, and the silence is deafening. But even in this, especially in this, God is working. He's not just interested in the destination. He's invested in the transformation happens in the journey. Think of Joseph. He had a dream of leadership, of influence, of greatness. But before the palace, there was a pit. Before the promise, there was betrayal, slavery, and years in prison. It didn't look like progress. But every moment, every hardship was preparing him, teaching him to trust, teaching him to depend on God alone. By the time he stepped into the position God had prepared for him, he was ready because of what he walked through. The same is true for you. That storm you're navigating, it's developing resilience. That heartbreak, it's building compassion. That delay, it's teaching you patience and dependence. That closed door, it's redirecting you to something better. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Sometimes we want the promise, but we resist the process. But you can't walk into purpose without first walking through preparation. God doesn't elevate before he equips. He doesn't promote without first building a foundation. And the foundation is laid in the hard seasons, the ones no one sees. The ones where you stay faithful even when it's difficult. The ones where you keep walking even when it's uphill. Don't resent the season you're in. Don't curse the process, embrace it. God knows what he's doing. The skills you're learning now, the endurance you're building now, the humility you're cultivating now, all of it will be necessary later. And when you finally walk into that answered prayer, that breakthrough, that calling, you'll look back and realize, I needed that season. It wasn't easy, but it made me ready. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep growing. Because what you walk through now is not the end of your story. It's preparation for the greater purpose God has already written for your future. It's a simple phrase, but it carries a powerful truth. Life is filled with challenges, detours, and seasons of waiting that can wear us down. In those moments, it can be tempting to quit, to settle for less, to walk away, or to pause indefinitely in fear or frustration. But what we often fail to see is that the breakthrough, the blessing, the fulfillment of what we've been working toward is often just beyond the point where we're tempted to give up. You see, the blessing, whether it's peace, success, healing, purpose, or a long-awaited dream, was never promised at the starting line. It's found at the finish. It's reserved for those who keep moving forward even when they don't see the results yet. When we stop short, whether it's out of doubt, exhaustion, or impatience, we remove ourselves from the place where the blessing was meant to meet us. Imagine a runner who gives up a few feet before the finish line. All the effort, the training, the sacrifices, they count for nothing if the runner doesn't cross the line. That's how it is with our own lives. Progress is not always visible. Results don't always come quickly. But stopping short guarantees that we miss what we've been praying for, hoping for, and working toward. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is the last stretch, the part where your strength is almost gone, where your faith is being tested, where it feels like nothing is changing. But it's in that very place that you need to deep and press on. That's where character is built. That's where endurance is formed. And that's often where God is preparing the blessing just out of sight. So don't stop short. Keep going, keep believing, keep showing up. Because the blessing you've been waiting for may be just one more step beyond your breaking point. And when you refuse to stop short, you give yourself the chance to walk fully into the promise that was meant for you all along.